Hello everybody and welcome to today's session, how to make your listings go viral with social media. And this is an exciting one for us. Our social media marketing department has been testing this across the country with quite a few different markets, and we're excited to share with you how you can do some of this as well. So I just want to welcome everybody to today's session, and we're just about ready to get started. So before we get started, we want you to sort of turn off all those distractions, take out something you can, take notes with, and, I just closed out my email and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So we'll look forward to hearing some feedback and things like that. Speaking of feedback, if you would like to communicate with us, what we'd like you to do is go to the GoToWebinar toolbar on your desktop, and if you're on a Mac or PC and you can't find the toolbar, you simply click on the little daisy that's marked on there, and that will get you in there. And so just to know that everybody is found the toolbar, this is how you ask questions. We do have you on mute because we are recording this session and we want to get a good clean recording, so we don't want any background noise. So with that being said, just type in real quick which real estate company you're from and maybe what area you're checking in with, just so that we know that everybody can find the questions area. So just let us know your organization as well as what area you're checking in with us from. So I know we have a lot of Chicago folks with us today, but we also have some national folks. So in the questions area, just go ahead and type in what company. We have Shy Properties from Chicago. We want to welcome them. Coldwell Banker from St. Charles, Missouri. U.S. Department of HUD region, Chicago. We have Federal Savings Bank. Welcome. Yes, we have. Anybody else want to check in with us? We have a lot of people on with us today. Remax, San Mateo, California. Sotheby's, Bonita Springs, Florida. Welcome. All right. Well, this is the area where if you want to ask questions, you need us to clarify anything, and we'll also be hanging around at the end to take questions. So with that being said, my name is DeLisle. I am founder and CEO of Forward Progress, and we host these programs across the country, and we have coached and trained over 80,000 professionals in social network skills, just like we're going to do with you today. And we specialize in real estate, the mortgage space, financial services, insurance, and several other industries as well. So we just want to welcome all of you and thank all of you. Now, we couldn't do this without the Realtors Real Estate School from Chicago Association of Realtors. We want to thank them today because they are sponsoring this group, and this is a special class or course series called Getting Social. And so they sponsor that out of Chicago here, and they are a very powerful board that you definitely want to know who they are, and they have tons of classes besides this one, both in their location on Michigan Avenue, right across from the lovely Art Museum, for those of you that aren't from here, as well as online classes just like this. So again, we want to thank the Chicago Association of Realtors and RRES for putting this on. Now, first and foremost, so many of us come from a traditional outbound marketing scenario. So who still puts their listings or does advertising in the newspaper? We were just talking about this yesterday. We have some people that still do and still don't. How many people are still, just type that in. I just want to know if anybody's still doing listings in the Trib or in your local newspaper. I'm just curious who's still doing that. I still see a lot of our partners doing that. Also, we have other forms of outbound, right? Radio, television, direct mail. I still have people who are dropping postcards as well as outbound dialing. So this is sort of that categorization of outbound, and a lot of times we do what we call blended campaigns. So we, and the fact is, because of, advertising and marketing has always worked for us based on, wherever the eyeballs are of our target market. So a lot of you may specialize in certain types of like in Chicago, we have bungalows, we have condos, we have townhomes, we have high-end homes, and depending on your target, You want to understand where the eyeballs of that target is so that when you put a listing up, they stand the best chance possible to be seen. And so with today's world, we have a lot of people that are just looking at their devices, right? Like their cell phones. Well, I actually call them smartphones now, right? So I don't want to date myself, but smartphones. And then also we have this whole social aspect of everything, where a lot of people are running apps and things like that and connecting them to other places, which we're going to talk about today, how you can leverage at a very low cost or no cost, depending on how you're taking some of that same effort, and convert those people to that new place so that they can see your listings. Now, online social networks are interesting and different than all the other things that we spoke about, because many of us have spent, our entire career building our name, or we've attached ourselves to an office that has a great name, right? Because that's why we join certain offices and certain companies, because we're like, I want to be associated with that name. But at the end of the day, people do business with people. And social networks imply that and have proven that, because the people that really leverage the power of their network, the people in their network, and the platform of social networks really get that extra boost. And that's what we're going to bring here for you today, some other ideas. Now, when we look at social networks that we already know, right, we have ourselves. So each and every one of you in some capacity is a network. In fact, if you ever come into one of our social media services groups, or you do any type of monthly service, the one thing we do is we leverage the current network to get to your new network, the one that hasn't discovered you yet. Even if you're the very best at referrals, there's still what we call an unturned referral, and we want to get as many of those turns as possible, right? So when we do that, we want to understand the people and the groups that we're connected to. So right now, who's the #1 social network, right? I'm not talking about Facebook, I'm not talking about LinkedIn or Twitter or anything like that. I'm talking about, what is the group that you get the most referrals from right now? Just type that into the questions area. I'm just curious, what is the #1 group where you get most of your referrals? So we have investor groups, we have chambers, past clients, friends, that's definitely a section, right? Realtors and clients, very good. Charities, some of you really work charities, right? So local government, that's good. I have a group here that's working in local government. So you can see that you've become known or connected to that social network. And we want you to understand that social network, it exists wherever you connect to them, plus it exists online. Okay, and so we don't want you to miss that opportunity. So one of the things that we want you to also understand is that current database that you have, or those contacts or connections, also live online. And so we're going to tell you where we're going to tell you to put your listings, that is almost going to increase your exposure by 3 or 4 fold in terms of the people that see it, is because traditionally we would either advertise or put our listings in the paper, put them on Zillow or Trulia, or put our listings on as many places as possible, correct? Well, with social networks, what we want is we want people to refer us and tell us and bring us more listings and bring us buyers, right, so that we can have more eyeballs. Well, social networks now in a trusted fashion, so if you have Facebook or if you have Twitter, wherever it is that you're doing your social network and your people exist. Some of you just have them exist in the inbox, and that's why we want you to transfer them to a social network so that you get not just 1 degree of separation, but you get 2 and 3 degrees of separation. You get that multiplier of having the depth of that network. Right? So for every 200 connections, each of those people, even if only had 200 connections, right, all of a sudden you have 40,000 people just at the second level, just with 200 connections. Now some of you have much bigger databases than that. However, we want you to understand that that database is continual. Now, this class isn't about maintaining your core social networks, but just a quick tip you can write down. And we do this for accounts that we service. We really want you to turn in as many new contacts as you have, because we want to add those to your core social network sites so that those people, we can achieve their connections. And in fact, I have some people, looks like I have some mortgage partners on with us today, and you guys can work together at this, but every time you're at the closing, right at the closing table, add every one of those people to your social network, even if it's LinkedIn. It doesn't matter if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I've got several clients that are just knocking it out of the park. Every time they leave the closing table, they leave with about 4,000 people because of all the people that they've connected with during the closing process, as well as the client, and now all of a sudden they've connected to them socially. Okay, so write that down. If you're not doing that, that is almost doubled some business for some of our clients today. Now, these are what we call social media anchor sites. Now, we're tracking a lot of them, okay, besides this, but these are some of the main that have the most eyeballs. So if you're going to buy the billboard, if you're going to buy billboards, a lot of times it pays to buy that billboard where the most traffic passes, right? And so when we look at the traffic on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Pinterest, it's completely amazing, the millions of eyeballs. I mean, I had one of our clients out in Pittsburgh that had a call from from somebody that had a listing in Indiana. So it's like, and they're still working with a partner here. They got them set up. They handed it off. They have the referral. So it's amazing where your listings are going to show up because of the internet, right? Those degrees of separation. And it popped up in Facebook because of a Pinterest listing. So we want you to see how some of this works. So we'll show you specifically here in a moment, but just to get a sense of where everybody is at, I just want to know, are you using the following social network sites to promote your listings right now? I just want to see which ones you're using, and you can go ahead and click on these. We'll give you a minute. You can select all that apply. All right, good. So we have, all right, so I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and close out this poll just so you can see that. Okay, so we can see that a lot of you are using Twitter, some of you are using YouTube, some Pinterest. Nobody has claimed Instagram, and then some of you are at none. So let's go ahead and hide this real quick. And then as we look at these social network sites, we look at Facebook as what we call an anchor site, because a lot of times you're going to build your business and continuously add people there. We call LinkedIn an anchor site, right? So because you're going to add people in, and that's going to be sort of a core network site. Twitter is where you gain and garner followers, and we call that an anchor site. Pinterest is a visual social network, which we'll cover in depth today, and then that is another social network site, and then Google+. Now, a lot of people overlook Google+, but Google Plus is actually ranked #2 based on sheer volume. Google is doing an extensive job of making sure that we sign up for those. Now, even if you don't have a big social network and you don't log in there every day, it does affect your search engine marketing. And we just did a class last month that talked about your search engine marketing and how to get found on Google. And so Google Plus was a big player. So write that down. If you don't have a Google Plus account, it really pays to set up that profile so that you can just have one more place to put your listings, okay? So let's talk a little bit about Twitter. So when we talk about photos, videos, and listings, right, we talk about taking those listings that you have and getting them in front and center in what we call your timeline. Now, most of the people that are on Twitter, in fact, I asked them to re-pull the numbers. I want to say 90% of the people on Twitter never log into Twitter. They access it through their mobile device or some sort of other tool. Right? Now the thing with Twitter is it has 218 million active users. That's people that are on it all the time, right? And so when we look at this, we want to know that, in Twitter, people are just a little bit different. They're looking at whatever they want to find in 140 characters or less. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that photos and videos go a long way on Twitter. Right? And there's all kinds of ways to integrate that. So if you're standing in front of your listing, or you happen to have photos already of your listing, there's ways to quickly put them up there. Okay, and most everything integrates with Twitter. Now with Twitter, you're just tweeting it out. So you put your listing up and you tweet that out. Now, depending on how you're running that listing, depending on, I see I have some auction people on with me. I have people that I know that do open houses. You can drive traffic to those open houses and to those auctions and to those event-related things with Twitter. Okay? So when you do that, you can also send messages, right, directly to people. So just like you want to alert people, you can use things like TweetDeck, T-W-E-E-T-D-E-C-K, Hootsuite, H-O-O-T-S-U-I-T-E, or Social Oomph, just like I have on the screen here. And yes, we will get you access to these slides so that you don't have to write everything down. So when we do that, you can actually manage it from your desktop. So if you have somebody in your office, or if you want to manage it, you can actually take those videos and you can take those pictures and you can load them up into Twitter. And let's say you want to just release 1 or 2 key listings. Some people have listing of the day. Some people have things like that. So you can actually schedule that out for the week, and you don't have to be there on the spot to do it. Now, I like the mobile app. I like saying something interesting about the listing and having my iPhone with me, and this works with Android. I have my Twitter app, and I basically take a picture and I push a button, and straight from there it goes straight up to my Twitter. Okay? So if you're not doing this, all you need to do is have the mobile app on your phone. You just add the app, and as long as your phone has a camera, it's easy enough to do this. And those of you that don't can schedule it using one of these applications. Okay, is anybody else using a different application that you want to share with everybody, or just let us know of something different than TweetDeck, Hootsuite, or Social Oomph to actually push this out? Yes, yes, and Sprout Social. We should have that on the list as well. That's another good one. Okay, anything else? And some of these have good reporting tools and not just distribution tools. Anything else? All right, thank you everybody for participating. Oh, bufferapp.com. We'll check that one out too. Thank you, Ari. Okay, now in Twitter, like I said, a lot of the things people, most people don't log into a Twitter account, but what's sort of cool, oh yeah, and point to agent. I forgot about that one. Thanks, Jorge. And then when we start looking at getting this in front of people, most people aren't logging in. However, when they do, they will actually see your photos and videos on your main page. And a lot of people, what they do is on their website, there's ways to integrate the social network connections, right, on your website, so you actually see the live Twitter feed on your website, which gives you more active exposure and helps your listings get found actually out by Google and attracts people to your website. Okay, so you get search engine marketing effect on that. So that is a really, really cool way, or a cool thing of doing, a way of getting those listings out there. Okay? And this is just a sample of what the house of the day. Look at even Wall Street Journal Real Estate is doing house of the day or featuring house of the day. Okay? And so, you can do house of the day, you can do condo of the day, you can do different days, you can have different things, and you can basically view that, push that out. Now, if you're working with a whole office, what we recommend that you do is that you get the office to retweet that, and this can be set up automatically so that when you're pushing out a listing, that the whole office can actually retweet those listings. Okay, and you guys can work in partnership a little bit. You can even set up so that you have tracking links so that when this listing goes out, you can have a special tracking link to do that, okay, to actually bring that back. Okay, any questions on that? I think everybody got that. Okay, good. Looks good. Okay. Now, your tweets are always displayed on your profile page. So like I said, you get the photos, the videos, and actually the tweets. So when people actually come here, they actually get a visual impact of your page, which goes a long way. Now, when we talk about video, so real quick, I just want to, all right, we have another, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and ask this other polling question. I just want to know, on here, I just want to make sure everybody's at the same level. So with this question, I just put another polling question up. Are you using pictures or videos of your listings on your social network sites right now? I just want to see if everybody's doing that. So just click on yes if you are and no if you're not. I just want to find out where the audience is at today. This will help me with what I'm explaining. All right, good. All right, so I have most of you checked in here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out so I can get to the content. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on this. You guys were really quick today. Okay, and just so you see you're not alone, 44% of you, yes, are using them on your social network sites, and 56 no. So even if you are, we're going to bring you some value here in terms of how you do it. Now, you'll notice here that in this YouTube video listing, now in a lot of cases, it's, we have some people that produce these, they hire a service. In most cases, we haven't seen either way, unless you're dealing with really high-end real estate or high-end developers, that this matters. But, in most cases, you can get just as much traction with a listing, putting it up with an iPhone or an Android video, than if you have it professionally produced. Okay, so when you push this out there, and your goal here, you see how you have 3,300 views, 1,000 views. This one is Chicago Magazine, and this one is Luxury Home Chicago. But let's learn from them, right? So when we look at this, we have, the blue White House in Chatham, right? And they have White House, which was very cool. They said blue White House, and that got a lot of hits here because of the word White House, but on Chicago's South Side. So Chicago's South Side, they used in the description because most of the things that they're dealing with can happen on the South Side. And I have a lot of our Chicago South Side people actually giving actually getting a lot of good traction by just putting those three terms in there and the neighborhood name. And don't forget, YouTube is owned by Google, so what happens when you put the video up there and you index this and link it back to your website, where do you think everybody goes afterwards? Even if that listing's not available, you get that exposure. Okay, and the same here. A lot of times they'll put the actual description and the price, right? So Hale Loft Chicago, $299, right? $299,000, 2-bed, 1.5 bath, and they'll use like Hale Lofts, and they'll use the square footage, and they'll use terms like that. Now in this, I would list also the neighborhood or surrounding neighborhood. So many of you are in metro areas. Some of you are out there, in areas that are a little more rural, so it's easy. So here in the Midwest, we have towns as big as Schaumburg, which is almost as big as Chicago. And when you have that situation, you can list the greater Chicago area, specifically in Schaumburg, right, which are two big areas put together that will attract people to that listing, right? And then you also want to, be as descriptive as possible with the things in this listing. Now, what a lot of people fail to do when they put these listings up, they throw the video up and then they start linking it, which we're going to have you do next. But without these keywords in this description in here, you're losing a lot of what we call link juice to get you found on Google. Okay, and there's over 1 billion unique users each month, right? And YouTube is a video sharing website, which we're going to show you how to share here in a minute, but it's owned by Google, right? So think about the power that you're either gaining or missing out on. So if you have videos and they're not on YouTube, you're missing out, right? In fact, those of you, I notice we have some students that are part of our Social Jack program. Tomorrow we have a specific class that's going to teach you even more specifically on Google. We just can't go into everything here today because we want to get you to Pinterest and some of the other sites. So when we think of the ages, it's 18 to 35, view more video media on YouTube than on television, which blows me away. I have a 15-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 20-year-old, and actually a 2-year-old, and when I look at that, it's just interesting how much they watch on YouTube. Like a lot of their programs, a lot of things are streamed on there and things like that. Okay? So just think of the eyeballs again. Yes, they can also get the virtual tours. Right, but I'm saying that you could even, Jorge, you could even be the virtual tour person. Like you can either, again, a lot of times virtual tours are very well structured, but a lot of times I want to build trust with you. So Richard and Emily and Ira and everybody that's on today, I want you to be associated with that. So a lot of times virtual tours are very cool and very structured, but I would love it if I could hear your voice talking so that when I picked up the phone, I'm like, wow, Jorge, that's really you. Or, wow, Alan or Dory, that's really you on that video, and there's something that builds that trust and connection when they find that. And again, just try it with your phone. It's pretty cool when you get there, even if you have a virtual tour, to get your own copy of that tour on there. Now, once you're listed, write these steps down. First, index with your keywords or your keyword phrase. So South Side Chicago, let's see, Southeast LA, right, Los Angeles. If you're going to do the Bay Area, there's all kinds of things of the way that people type and look up for, look up things online. So think about what that looks like for you and what your keywords are. Now, those should be the same keywords that are in your profiles. So your Facebook profile, your Google Plus profile, your LinkedIn profile, and your YouTube profile, right? So look at what that looks like, and make sure those keyword phrases are also in your video link. Okay? Good stuff. Then, how many people are blogging? Type in the questions area if you're blogging. Just give me a quick yes or no. I want to know how many people are blogging. And this is in the questions area on the GoToWebinar taskbar. Yeah, so a lot of you are blogging. Yes, and I see some of you are part of our social media mega pack where we blog for you daily, right? Okay, good. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so when you attach a YouTube video to a blog, which are two forms of active content, right? Those are two forms of active content. It is amazing how that video on the walkthrough attached to the blog starts climbing to the top. In fact, you can beat out anybody, right, if you index properly with your keywords, right? Now, you may not be able to dominate the term that just says real estate or real estate listings, but if you want to get specific and say real estate listing in Lincoln Park, right, foreclosure listing in Pittsburgh, it doesn't matter. You can a lot of times dominate between the blog and YouTube. And then the next secret sauce on this is to add it to your social sites, right, in the postings or in the tweets. So now you get to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+, and you take that YouTube video, right, and you just put it up there. And you can do this at any time, right? So if you can't do this, and if you're not having somebody like Forward Progress do it for you, have somebody in the office do it, you're going to gain all kinds of traction from that. All right? So just make sure you write these steps down, and then we'll also send them out to you. Now, Pinterest is another whole huge success in itself. It started taking off about a year ago on the real estate side, and now it's amazing in terms of how you do it. Look, even Bob Vila's doing it, right? But basically what it is Pinterest is the equivalent of they call it reality TV, because it brings the best of everything more socially together. So you ever know the sort of thing when you're walking through an office and you look and see what people have pinned up on their cubes or hanging up in their office, or you go to their house and they have things on their fridge, right? Everybody's looking at their refrigerator. Well, there's a ton of eyeballs on Pinterest. Millions and millions of people are viewing things on Pinterest, and so at the same time, it's one of the highest indexed, just like YouTube, because it has visual impact. It has a lot of activity around video and around photos that you can actually put your listings. You can do complete listing walkthroughs on Pinterest, and it's real easy. It's separated by boards, and pins, right? Besides the people, it's separated by boards and pins, right? And a lot of you said that you're already on here. So how many of you are already putting your listings on Pinterest? I just want to see, because I love getting examples, so I want to look and see who's doing this and who's putting that up. Just in the GoToWebinar, just type that in the questions area. I just want to see. I love it because we were looking, and every time we do this, we love seeing all the different creative examples. So we're going to show you some that are really working or that we find. Now, like I said, if you're event driven, you can list your event. Your event part that's going on is sort of a banner of saying, hey, this is going on, or you could use the same announcement, literally take a picture of it or take a PDF of it and upload it to Pinterest. Now the boards themselves, yeah, and they have over 70 million users, but the boards themselves, right? So a board can be a section. Now, a lot of times for real estate, so let's say your office or you have a Pinterest account set up, the boards can be set up a little bit to where you can have, here, let me go back to this. Go back to this example. The boards can be set up in sections by property or by neighborhood. Okay, these are the two top ways, so either by property, by event, or by neighborhood, right? So it can be by property, right? So you would have the address listed as a board, and you would have videos and pictures inside that board, right? You could do it by neighborhood, right? So let's go back to this. So you see here we're at Properties here in Chicago does House of the Day. And when you go back to this, you can actually see all the different, and this is House of the Day, right? And they have all these different listings in House of the Day. Now, some of you might have it by style of the house. So we saw another person out of San Antonio and a couple other areas that are doing it by style of the house. Okay, so the main thing is that you get it up there. Now, here's the cool part, is you see how they have the address and they have Chicago real estate? Those are key words, right? Real estate listing in zip code 91387, right? So now you have the keywords, you have the address, and you can be as descriptive as possible when you put that listing up there. So you're basically taking it from your phone, right? You're taking it from your computer, you're creating a board, and you're pinning it up, and you're copying and pasting. Now, you could take your YouTube video and put it inside Pinterest. You could take pictures from another website, from your listing website, and when you click on this picture, it goes back to your website. Okay, it's super easy to do. You see where it has the word website there? As soon as you upload this, you enter your listing website, right? Where you want people to go, where they click on this picture. And then people like it, just like in Facebook, and they repin it, right, to their site. You want to get more pins, like, oh, check this listing out, And then when people go there, they click through and get to your website. And even if they don't get all the way here and click through and get to your website, you still get the search engine marketing effect from the entire thing. Is everybody with me on this so far? I just want to make sure everybody gets the ease of doing this and the concept of pins and boards. Now, this is an entire this is an entire board here, right? So you have at Properties, and then you have House of the Day, and this is all their houses of the day. And this is one single board. And you notice River North Real Estate, Lake Forest Real Estate, right? Beverly Shores Real Estate, IN. This is what people type in to look for your listings. Lincoln Park Real Estate, Lake Forest Real Estate, Uptown Real Estate. Right, and I am seeing that we have some of our clients on here as well, and then you guys know that you just turn in your listings and do this, but you can have somebody in your office do this that easy. So basically, you're taking these listings, you're putting them up on your website. Just take one more step and pin them on your Pinterest account. It's free. Okay, you just have to spend a little bit of time, and you can do this on Saturday mornings and ramp out all your listings, or Friday nights, or Tuesday nights, or Monday nights, or whenever it makes sense. but plan on doing this. The effect and the exposure is huge, especially if you have some decent shots. And you can do video on here as well. Okay, so any questions on Pinterest? I just want to make sure you're okay before we jump to the next part. Okay, so I'm going to show you, hold on real quick here. I'm going to show you, I'm going to jump over here, okay? So this is Pinterest. Now, you see how easy it is to use. If you go on here, you can create a board, you can add something from a website, or you can upload a pin. So if you want to add a pin, right, upload a pin, you can choose the image, right? So you can decide that I have all these pictures, and you can decide where it's at. We'll do Splash Mountain. How's that? Right? Doesn't matter what the image is. Boom, the image goes up there. You put the description. Remember I said you put your keywords in here, right? Put all your keywords in here, and then look what happens. You can choose what board you want to put it on, and you can choose, you know, the property, or you could choose the area, right? And then look at this. You can post to Facebook and post to Twitter. Now think about what happens when you take a picture, right? You take a photo, you put it up on a board, you put all that description in there, and then you wire the post to Facebook and Twitter. Look at how far that listing got in just a couple of clicks. Okay? So just want to make sure everybody's grasping this and everybody gets it. And then you simply click pin it. And then what happens, that whether they're looking for it on Google or they're looking in Chicago for new home listings, right? And you guys can pick and see which listings, right? So look at your area. So what I would encourage you to do is actually go in here and say, what's my area? I'm going to type in my you know, I'm going to look for new homes in my neighborhood, right? The length of the question just came in. Is the length of the description a factor? Can it be too long or too short? We have never proven that being too long has caused any harm whatsoever. However, one of the things that is most consistent with YouTube, as well as with blogging, here's a secret sauce thing I write down, as well as with Pinterest, is to make sure that you repeat like the neighborhood or something in the title as well as in the description. Okay, so we do a repeat of the keyword in there. Okay? Now, here's what you want to do also. You want to identify how people search for things in your area. And I don't want to get too deep in here, but I was talking a little bit about keywords. And you want to establish how people are typing things in your area and how your ideal buyer would actually type those things in. Right? So think about what that looks like for you. Okay, so you see here, you know, you see, you know, you have a nice description in here, and so even if you don't have extensive, right, but you have the word here, and then you have it repeated in the description. Okay, makes sense? Good. All right, I just want to make sure everybody's grasping it. And then what I would do is I would look, and if you're not sure, you can look to see if your competitors, right? So if I just look up Chicago real estate, is somebody typing in Chicago real estate, or what are they typing in? Are they typing in Bucktown, you know, Bucktown homes? What are they typing in? And you can also see that you can connect it from Zillow. You can basically connect it from anywhere. Now, on this particular example, you'll see how there's, you know, clublocal.com here has, you know, under Chicago real estate, they have the real cost of home repairs, and they have what they call an infographic. This is a little more advanced, where you have somebody put an infographic with, you know, what their differentiator is. So a lot of times they'll talk about neighborhoods, they'll talk about markets, they'll talk about things like that, which will give them a little higher visibility and scoring in the midst of all these listings. So did you notice how when all these listings popped up, your eyes went to this infographic? And that's what infographics are supposed to do. So infographics, you need to find somebody that can actually generate those infographics, and you know, it's sort of a little bit different game, but it's nice that in the midst of all these listings you can have something that pops out and looks different, right? Also, you notice that there's no, in Chicago real estate here, we had a few last week, but there's very few videos, and that's why we're saying you can take that video from YouTube and actually create it on here, and people are attracted by the play button, right? Play buttonitis. So people are attracted by that, and you know, as they're skimming through and looking at things as they're searching, and they see that one video that you have, they'll be attracted to that video just like they were to the infographic. All right, any questions on this part here? So make sure I have everybody and everybody's getting this. Good. Good. Okay, so is everybody willing to try this? I mean, I think you just take a listing, right? It's free. You just take a listing, you create a Pinterest account. It's free. Make sure you give it a real good description, and you set it up completely. It only takes probably less than 15 minutes, right? And then just create a board, right? And it's just try it out, you know, try it out so you can see how easy it is. It's always, you know, a lot of times it's easy if you just try it, and then just upload that picture. Now, Lisa's asking a very valid question. How many people shop, right, Pinterest to purchase homes? What have you seen as return for invested time? We find that it gives validation to the listings. So like I said, these listings get indexed, not just searchable by here, but Pinterest is one of the top indexable sites on Google. So what it does is it will help your Zillow listings. It'll help wherever your listings are connected. So if you take the same listing and you put it on YouTube, right? You put it on Zillow and you put it on Pinterest, and then you post about it or blog about it, you're going to have increased traffic and eyeballs. So we see higher click-through rates, we see higher traffic to the website, and it really depends on the listing and it depends on the area, but we have seen an increase in that. The highest increase we've seen, somebody just asked, is about 30 to 40% in viewing invisibility, okay? So that's just the number of people that have seen that, and then we get about a 30% click-through rate depending on how good the listing or the video is that they arrive at. Does that help? All right, good. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so another good question. The size of the image dictate your board space? Yes. So as you look at the board space, you have a variety of pictures, and usually videos are dictated. You'll notice they look very similar in terms of size. That's because most of them are being attached from a video source like YouTube. And we do recommend using YouTube, especially for listings. Okay, it scores extremely high. So one of the things, Eric asked this question, it's a good question. I don't see anybody doing it here. I don't have a good example. But just like this infographic, so if you're a little more tech savvy, you could take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures, right? A nice long picture of the best photos that you have for a listing and dominate this page, because you would take up an entire strip, right? I don't see anybody really doing it. I see some longer photos here, like on the, you know, this one was sold by Baird & Warner. You can put your solds up here too. It's a great way to drive people back to your site. So I don't see anybody doing this, but it's a probably because I have Chicago in here. I think it was Austin that I just saw a group doing this, and it was really nice. But it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a strip of pictures in one picture, in one image, and then basically what they did is they posted that on their website, and then they linked it back here. And you can, when you're creating a pin, you can upload directly, choose the image, right, directly, or when you pin up, you can actually pin. So like if I'm in one of my boards here, you see where it says add from a website, I can put my Trulia or Zillow site in there, or my website, and actually pin from a website, and it'll go directly back to that website automatically at that point. All right, good. All right, hopefully you guys are getting some good stuff out of this. This is really powerful. Okay, so once it's listed, remember, make sure that you index with your keywords. Okay, this is one of our client pages here, right? Today's market news. And then they actually, when they click on the blog, which has a video or photo attached to it, it then drives back to this form, and they fill out that landing page. Okay, so if you're going to drive them back to a website, make sure that you have a call to action. So you can then also add this video, right, or this pin to your blog site. That'll give you some credibility as well. And it's okay, at the bottom of the website or at the bottom of the blog, you can list a lot of these links back to those other sites, and that'll give you some scoring position as well. And then add to your social sites, right, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+. Your anchor sites, remember those anchor sites. Even if you don't have them all, just pick the ones that you want to tie them back to. Okay, and then last but not least, Instagram is mobile only, so that means that you're going to go to the store or on Google Play, right, and you're going to download the Instagram app. And the reason Instagram is nice is because when you take the picture, it'll automatically, right, go up and distribute. And they have about 150 million users, right? And in most major metro markets, they're doing really, really good. And you can see this open house example, and then basically what they're doing is they're automatically uploading this picture. And Instagram has a search function, it has a social network, it's all mobile based. Okay, and once you put it up, it can automatically go to Facebook and Twitter in the same fashion, right? So you'll see a lot of examples if you're on Instagram, but I noticed that a lot of you didn't say you were on Instagram, but yet Instagram makes it easy because it goes directly from your phone directly up to the cloud or your social network. Okay, so Instagram is one of those that, and it allows you to do some other cool stuff with the photos. Okay, so think about how easy that is. Snap the picture, post it immediately, punch in a couple keywords, and you're good to go. All right. Now remember, once it's listed, then it goes up on the net. Go back and if you can, clean it up a little bit, and then add it to your blog site, add to the social sites, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google+. So there's a very decent rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat here. If you can get down to a little bit of a system, schedule it maybe once a week. I would say if you spend an hour a week on this, it would pay you back. And I think it was Lisa who was asking that question. I believe that 1 hour would pay you back in at least one. It would gain you. I would bet you it would gain you at least 1 or 2 additional listings a week, worst case, if not buyers. But I would encourage you to test it and then come back and let us know how you do or if you have any questions. Okay. Now here's what we call visual listings. Your 7 steps. Okay. So we'll have you write these down, but we'll also send them to you. So establish your value in your routine. Right. Integrate with your other sites. Use the tools that are available like Instagram, or if you're doing Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook, get them on your mobile device. Make them easy. There's less clicks, so you don't have to wait till you're tired at the end of the day coming back and trying to put that stuff up. Right from the mobile device, right? Build your followers. Pay attention that people are either increasing or decreasing, right? And then make sure you tell people you're on the sites. I sort of glossed over the one slide, but tell people on your website. Make sure that they know on your website and on your profile and on your Facebook page. You can list and link your Twitter page. You can list and link your Google Plus page on Facebook. Right? When you're on Facebook, you can list your Twitter account. You can list these sites back and forth. people have patterns that once they like what you're putting up there, they're going to follow and connect with you on other networks. And remember, every time they connect, their entire social network connects. Okay? And then ask for any help if needed and have some fun with it. You know, the social networking is like a big networking event. We say treat it like a big business mixer or an investor club or a chamber event, right? Have some fun with it. You know, there's people, they're walking around, they're looking for stuff, they want to talk to people. It's just like having your own open house. In fact, we have so many people that are doing virtual open houses now where most of their open houses are right online. And they use Google to do that. They use Pinterest to do that, right? They're using YouTube to do that. So just have fun with that. Okay. Any other questions on this? All right. Good. I know everybody's at a different level, so just write down some things and determine some new next steps. Now, on behalf of CAR, they'd like to know what type of classes, other classes, would you like them to feature? So I'm putting up a poll right now. So would you like more on YouTube, more on Pinterest, more on Instagram, right? More on blogging or on Facebook? Okay, pick the one you would like the most, okay? And then you guys are going to determine how we're going to run classes starting in January. All right? Oh, everybody weighed in on this one. Good. Yes, and we will send you the link to the video as well as to the, here we go. So we'll show you where this is at. So right now we have one more poll to do. And look at that, Facebook just edged out YouTube. Maybe we'll do a Facebook YouTube class. Then we have Pinterest, Instagram, and blogging. So there you go. That's so far. So watch the announcements, watch the page, and we'll get there. All right, and then for those of you that don't want to wait, we have a special deal for everybody from CAR. We have our professional version of Social Jack. Now, I know I have a lot of subscribers from Social Jack today, but if you go to socialjack.com, there is unlimited classes in there. Well, there's about 100 classes plus. You don't just get the classes, you get some instant access to our LinkedIn Premium Business Development Training, weekly group coaching sessions. We have new live classes each and every month, you know, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I think Steven's doing a class with our group tomorrow on YouTube. We have coaching sessions where you can come in and ask any question you want for just $29 a month, and that gets you access to our basically professional version, and you guys can come in as often as you want, right? And you can look at the resource center, and there's no limit on this particular package. Okay, and that's unlimited access, cancel at any time, no long-term contracts. You just go to socialjack.com, and we'll get you into that next round of classes, as well as instant access to the library of videos. Plus, you get access to online tools that we're beta testing all the time that you guys can have access to. But just check that out at socialjack.com and get that special price of just $29 a month. And then last but not least, did you learn anything new today? I just want to have one more poll go up there. Yes, so I just have a quick polling. So Eric is asking, we mentioned that by using social media you can generate more listings. Please explain that frequency. So the frequency will vary based on the quality of your pictures, based on the type of video, and based on the area that you're in. However, the frequency, as I said, that if you did 1 hour a week of putting up visual listings, people that are looking to list properties, right, especially in that area, will see those listings, right, and they will call you up because they see the visual aspect. It's no different, Eric, than if all of a sudden they see you in the back page of the local paper, right, because they're like, wow, my house is going to get out there, it's going to sell, right? So they're going to see that visual impact, and that's what I said. Places like the reason Pinterest and YouTube are so popular is it's just the same thing that people are stimulated visually, just like they call it, it's equivalent of, they actually said it's the equivalent of reality television. People are just like, you know, because of the social aspect, the connection of it and everything else, and the visual impact, it's the same thing. It's the same stimulation that people get. And some people are just addicted to looking. You know, my wife does that. I have other people in the family that do that, that just pass along listings all the time, and people come to them when they're starting to shop, and my wife's not even in real estate. You know, she just loves looking at houses, and so that's the cool thing about Pinterest is people see people liking and pinning and taking your listings and pinning them around the internet without you even paying for it. So it's just really a cool thing. All right, let's see. We'll close that out. All right, and anybody else? Yeah, I know. It still amazes me, too, sometimes how many people are on the social media sites. But don't forget, they're in their smartphones, right? So think about what that looks like as well. So we hope to see a lot of you in the Social Jack program. And if not, listen, have a great holiday. Watch for your email for recordings, and watch for the, watch for the slides as well. And then we'd love to hear your feedback. So here is our contact information at forwardprogress.net, or you can type in socialjackcar.com. And we want to thank again the Chicago Association of Realtors for helping us put on this fantastic event. And you guys have an amazing day, and we will see you online. Take care, everybody.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy.